Hi everybody, it's me Nikki. It is April 30th, 2014, and I am going to talk to you about David Paulides. He did the Missing 411 books, and I believe it was also called Strange Disappearances. Um, Now I haven't read these books from cover to cover, and barely just got one of the books and have been skimming through it. But I did a lot of research online, and several of my subscribers mentioned if I would talk about that and what I thought about it. So if you don't know the Missing 411 or David Paulides, he was a retired police officer, and who was approached by somebody from the National Forestry or something, and was told that there was a lot of missing people out there and that somebody should look into it. So he did. And after 7 years, 7,000 hours worth of investigating missing people stories, he started to see patterns, which he called clusters. And he found something in the way of 28 different clusters of missing people. And it was happening over a long period of time. But as he went to research and to obtain the records from both the National Forest Service and the national parks, he was told that they had no records, that they didn't keep records of these missing people. And I know a lot of comments on several of the YouTube sites that I was looking at made, well, then how did he know they were missing? Well, there are missing reports that are filed through the police departments and sheriff's departments and stuff like that. What he wanted were actual reports done by the Forest Service, because there's a certain amount of Forest Service people out there that they maintain a lot of records, okay? And you would think that would be one of the things they have to maintain is missing people, okay? Well, after all of this research he did, there came an instance where when through Freedom of Information Act, he was trying to obtain these records because he felt that they were there. They told him, yeah, you can have these records for like $1 point something million. And well, of course he's not going to pay $1.4 million for the records of the national records of missing people. So it just kind of makes it feel like, yeah, they have the records, but they don't want anybody to know that all these people are missing from, the parks and the woods. Um, and this goes all the way for North America. It's not just the U.S., all the way up to Canada as well. And these clusters that he was finding, maybe one was missing 1 year, and then 3 years later another one, and so they weren't really putting together the dots until he started putting the dots together, and he started mapping them out. And he's got a lot of really good maps that if you look and you compare them, it's really kind of scary how many people have gone missing, women and children especially. And a lot of them have been found. A lot of the little children have been found, but weren't really able to say what happened to them. They would be found miles away on a whole different mountaintop that there's no way a toddler could get over there. And just a lot of unexplained happenings and all that. So nowhere, I should say that nowhere in his books does it state that he is blaming Sasquatch or Bigfoot, Genosqua, any of those uh, for these disappearances. Okay, he never states that anywhere in the books, and if it does say so, then somebody can comment below and let me know. But from all the little things I've gathered, that it's never said. He never says that. He never says it's that's to blame. That it's a hairy person. So uh, all these people that were found alive can't somehow couldn't communicate what had happened to them. Um, there were statements made that they were either too small, the children were too small to communicate what happened to them, or there was some type of mental disability involved. And that is just, you know, kind of part of it. There's also things that are involved, um, like one take from certain individuals uh, feel that the government knows they exist, and that they have put together, I'm going to read this because I don't want to make a mistake. Know they exist because they covered up the existence because the government has a secret black ops military team that is devised to hunt and kill Bigfoot and Sasquatch from the national forests and parks. They do this because they found that Bigfoot is responsible for the kidnapping of women and children or lone hikers, and were taking them away and using them for whatever they wanted, or possible cannibalism, well, eating humans. It would be cannibalism if you believe they're human, which a lot of people do. And they don't want the general public to know this because it'll hurt the revenue that's brought in from the national parks. That is one take. That's not my take. Okay, that's just one thing that I found that kept coming up and coming up. I don't know if that's true, because I think somewhere along the line some hunters or campers or somebody would see these operations going down and would report it. I don't think they're that stealth that we've got this special team that can go in and kill Sasquatch and nobody knows about it. I do think the government knows, but I don't think they're to the point where they're actually sending in special operations to do anything about it. That's just one of the takes that I kept finding involving this missing people. Now, David Paulides has done a lot of interviews. He talks at Bigfoot conferences. He really puts himself out there in all of the coast to coast and different interviews, blogs, video, online blog talks, and all that. He's out there. You can find tons of his videos. So they're all really consistent. I watched like 4 this morning, and they're really consistent. They say the same thing. He never veers from anything. You know, his stories all stay the same. He seems very credible to me in his research. And he does insinuate a couple of times there on the Coast to Coast interview that, you know, there's something out there and something's happening, and there's just too many coincidences for there not to be something taking these individuals. That these people aren't just disappearing magically, but something is doing it to them. And it keeps falling down to the big hairy man. So I think each individual has to really check these stories out And the stories are good stories. You know, they're scary as heck. Because if you're a parent and you have young kids and you like to go out camping, I'm going to be a little bit more wary of where my kids are, because these stories are where the kids were no more than 20 feet away from them, and then all of a sudden they turned around and the kids are gone. So, you know, you have to be careful as a parent when you're out there in the woods with your kids anyway, but to think that something that I love to learn about and love to look for could possibly harm my children puts it in a whole different light. And it makes me think twice about wanting to take my kids out camping unless it's in a really populated campground. So what do you think? Do you think that these, you know, they're stating that hundreds of people are missing a year from parks? Hundreds. I thought I wrote down exactly how many, but that's a lot. I think that's a lot. And yeah, some of those are going to be intentional, getting out of the whole, you know, economic type of thing, going out there and just, you know, becoming the mountain men. Or some are doing it because they're suicidal and want to end it. But I think a lot of them are just normal, everyday hikers who do that thing they're not supposed to do. Go out by yourself. I do that all the time. And I'm very seriously thinking about not doing that anymore. After researching all this missing people, I think that my GPS and everything is won't help me if I get taken. At least I want somebody to know I was taken. So I might have to look for a hiking partner here pretty soon. And I'm going to have to really think about whether or not to take my kids out with me anymore. What do you guys think? Do you think that Bigfoot is the reason for all these missing people in the forest? Or 75% of them? Because it's a lot. And it's an area near you. If you look at the map, there are areas scattered all along the United States. So somebody is definitely, if you're watching this, you've got a national forest near you that I'm sure has got a cluster of missing people. It's kind of interesting. You know, there was also a lot of talk about how there are different type of hairy people. There was one that went into Janelsqua, and I know there's a project out there called the Janelsqua Project, but the background I found out on that is that the Janelsqua is a little bit, they're cannibalistic, and they're called that because I guess that means stone body or rock body, where they would roll around in the mud and the dirt, and their skin would actually look hard, and they were very smelly, and they emitted all kinds of odors from their underarms because if they got scared or anything, they would emit an odor from the armpits and from somewhere else. And that's why some people say they smell Bigfoot and some don't, because they're different types of Bigfoot. You know, some are the mean Janelsqua type, red-eyed, smelly Bigfoot, and then there are some that are the nicer gray-eyed Bigfoot that can communicate with people. And they have different names. The ones that make you forget, the ones, the tall man. The Native Americans have all types of different names for them because they believe they're all different types of Sasquatch. And I use Sasquatch loosely because that's really that's really what we've uh, developed out of the Sasquatch, which was the name the Native Americans use, and somehow it got translated into Sasquatch. There's really no Sasquatch. It's a different name entirely in Native American. So, and Bigfoot was, we know termed by one of the first guys that got the big feet out there in logging camp. So, and I can't think of his name now. But let me know what you think. Missing people. Do you go out hiking by yourself? I don't know. Keep on squatching. Comment below. Bye, guys.